What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So the saga continues with Mr. Gary Russell Jr., longest reigning champion in the sport of boxing, currently WBC featherweight world champion superstar boxer, and undefeated WBC lightweight superstar boxer, world champion Devin the Dream Haney. So the saga continues. This has been an ongoing saga for about 4 weeks, maybe a little bit less. But if you don't know, they've been negotiating possibly having a showdown November 7th or December 26th. They've been in negotiations. Bill Haney, father, trainer, and manager of Devin Haney, who is the CEO and co-promoter with Matchroom of Devin Haney Promotions. They fight on the network of The Zone. Gary Russell Jr. is his own entity. He fights primarily with the PBC and Fox with his advisor, Al Heyman, who is the founder and CEO of PBC Premier Boxing Champions. So they've been negotiating back and forth. Gary Russell was sent a contract in which, from Devin Haney and Team Haney, the first time initially, and he was not happy with the wording in the contract, and so Gary Russell Jr. sent it back. He says that the contract entailed that Gary Russell signed with The Zone, Matchroom, and Devin Haney Promotions, or should I say Devin Haney Promotions and The Zone, and have two fights, contractually bound to fight two fights, win, lose, or draw against Devin Haney on their platform and represent their brand. He wasn't of that mindset. He did not want to go through with that. He didn't approve of that. So they resent the contract without the stipulations for $1.5 million flat. That would see Devin Haney and Gary Russell showdown on The Zone. Gary Russell sent back with his own stipulations that should he win with the rematch clause, obviously Gary Russell's WBC champion at 126, Devin Haney's the WBC champion at 135. So with that said, he put stipulations in there. Devin Haney is the champion, Gary Russell will be the challenger. So Devin Haney wants a rematch clause. Gary Russell wants to counter the rematch clause to say if he should win and be victorious, he'll be the champion, he'll be the A side. He wants to dictate where the rematch takes place, what platform, and when the rematch takes place. Rightfully so, understandable. From that point on, there has been, tug of war going on here. And then Gary Russell says that the contract, he realized he had his lawyer, his team look over, and it stated that The Zone and Matchroom weren't fully on board. This was last Friday. Eddie Hearn, Matchroom CEO and promoter, who's brought boxing to The Zone, stated that Matchroom and The Zone were on board with the fight. They were willing to stage the fight. And Gary Russell, we haven't heard anything from Gary Russell since then. He said that he didn't like the wording in the contract, and he felt like they had to make some adjustments. This is business. Nothing's going to happen overnight. Like Gary Russell said in his recent interview that, he feels that, people feel he should just go ahead and sign any old contract. And he said he's not going to do that. He's going to do his due diligence before he goes into signing the contract. So he stated that, people are putting the carriage before the horse. This is business, not just going to sign any old contract. He says he still wants to fight with Devin Haney. Recently, Devin Haney came out on Fight Hype, an interview he did, in which he stated that he's come to the end of the rope with the Gary Russell situation because he felt like Gary Russell never really truly wanted to fight. He felt like he called Gary Russell's bluff and surprised Gary Russell. So he says that they was making an exception. It's a unique situation with them wanting to pay Gary Russell Jr. to stage the fight. He says that, but he's looking to face Yuriorkis Gamboa November 7th. But if Gary Russell does come back to the table and Gary Russell is accepting and willing to take the fight, then he says that Gary Russell would definitely be the man to replace Yuriorkis Gamboa for November 7th. And they're willing to, move the date back to December 26th should Gary Russell Jr. agree. So Gary Russell Jr. is stating that, he still wants to fight. So let's just listen to what Gary Russell had to say regarding this situation. He still is interested in the fight, says that Al Heyman, and they're still trying to get a deal done. So let's listen to what Gary Russell had to say.
I ain't been on this joint in a second, but I don't like giving people false information, or if I do come on here, I want to give them some good shit, you know, something of some substance. But to the people that's wondering, we definitely still trying to make this motherfucking fight happen with Devin Haney. We definitely still trying to make this fight happen. And to all these people that's talking about just sign the contract and fight back, this, that, and the third, y'all some dumb motherfuckers for saying some shit like that. Y'all don't know what's in the contract or whatever. I'm not somebody that just signs a piece of paper and none of the information is 100% correct and is binding me to something that's not 100% legit. You know, it's a concept of business. You know, I am a fighter, but it's a concept of business first. Y'all need to understand that, to the stupid people out there. But we definitely try and make this motherfucking fight happen. You know, they talking about some fight of November 7th, this, that, and the third. The reason why this November 7th date is even a date they put out there, because that was a date that they was already obligated to. Devin Haney was already in camp. He was already training. Even if me and Devin Haney wouldn't have had this conversation and got to talking, he would have been competing, fighting someone on November 7th, because that was the date that Matchroom and the Zone had available for him. You know, I'm definitely in the gym. I always stay in the gym. It's a way of life. It's a way of life for me. You know, even when I'm not getting ready for a fight, or even when I'm concluded my career, I'm still gonna be in the gym. But I'm not training as if I'm getting ready for a fight as of yet. A proper camp is 8 weeks. A proper camp is 8 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So all this talking, and then they trying to fake manipulate the fans and spin this shit. Like, stop this shit, man. Stop this shit. Y'all know what it is, man. We definitely trying to make the fight.
So you see, he said that they're trying to make the fight. He referred to the date November 7th being too short notice, that he needs 8-week training camp, proper training camp, and Devin Haney was going to go ahead forth with the fight. And as far as him having Devin Haney already having a date of November 7th set. Like he said, that he's not preparing for a fight, but he's always in shape. He's always in the gym. There's a lot of tug of war going on here. He's definitely said that he wants this fight. I don't know how realistic this fight is going to get to, how realistically close this fight is going to get to coming to fruition. I think that it may happen early 2021, first part of 2021. I'm expecting Devin Haney to fight Yuriorkis Gamboa on November 7th. I'm expecting Gary Russell to fight Javier Fortuna December 26th. And then we could get a showdown between Gary Russell and Devin Haney March, April. He says that he's definitely looking to make the fight, but time is a ticking, right? And they're running out of time, because if Gary Russell decides tomorrow to say, or next week, if they continue negotiating at this pace, and he says, well, I'm not going to have the fight, I don't like it, and they come to a standstill, well, guess what? Then Devin Haney is out of luck, because his fight is scheduled for November 7th, right? He has a date on November 7th. Then he will have to go back to the drawing board and look to regather themselves and refine another date to secure, and so on and such. And Gary Russell has a date of December 26th already set. So he has a date set that's a ways off, that still gives him enough time to make the proper adjustments if he decides not to take the fight. Or if they come to a standstill. Let's say Devin Haney don't like the wording in the counter offer, and they come to a standstill. Well, guess what? Devin Haney then, don't have enough time to make the proper adjustments to go in a different direction, and Gary Russell Jr. does. So, therefore, Gary Russell Jr. can take his time with this situation because he has more time. He has a date of December 26th already set, and he could take that with Javier Fortuna, and it's still going to give him an 8-week training camp if he decides in 2 weeks that not to go in the direction of Devin Haney. That don't give Devin Haney, the proper time to make adjustments and fight on that November 7th date. So Devin Haney and Team Haney are willing to go fight December 26th. But everybody, in my opinion, I believe everybody should be, courteous to everybody's time, right? Gary Russell knows that Devin Haney is crunched for time in this business, so maybe he's, taking his time doing it to force their hand, to force them to only have the option of him, and have to take the fight December 26th. So, like I said, there's a lot of posturing, there's a lot of fainting, there's a lot of tug of war going on, and that's business. But this is what happened when business gets done in the public eye. So, I would say expect to see Devin Haney versus Yuriorkis Gamboa November 7th, and then expect to see Gary Russell versus Javier Fortuna December 26th. But let's see how this all plays out, and let's see what happens. But that's all I got for y'all, man. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hey, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.